Jefferson County Court at Law number 2 is back in session in cause number 331340. The case is styled the state of Texas versus Eric Serafian Atwood. Mr. Atwood is appearing via Zoom. Mr. Atwood was previously sworn in. Mr. Atwood entered a plea of no contest to the charge of resisting arrest, search, transportation. Mr. Atwood's attorney is Mr. Joel Vasquez, and Mr. Vasquez waived the record in Mr. Atwood's case. Mr. Atwood acknowledged that his signatures and initials were on state's exhibit, was on state's exhibit number 1, the misdemeanor plea admonishment. He also acknowledged that his signature was on the trial court certification of defendant's right of appeal. And he also acknowledged that his signature was on the discovery certification. He also acknowledged that prior to him signing and initialing these documents that I've just mentioned, that his attorney went over these documents with him, that he understood everything in these documents, and everything in these documents was true and correct to the best of his knowledge. Mr. Atwood's attorney acknowledged that he has received a copy of the collection of information form or initial or for mental illness or intellectual disability, which is an assessment, and that he read this assessment, and he does not object to the finding, conclusions, and recommendation in this assessment. Now, state, Mr. Lamar Johnson, have you received a copy of the collection of information form or mental illness or intellectual disability or assessment that was conducted on Mr. Atwood by the jail? Have you had a chance to review it?
Yes, sir.
Do you have any objections to the finding, conclusions, and recommendations?
The state has no objections, Your
No
Honor.
objections. The court has also received a copy of this document. The court will take judicial notice of the finding, conclusions, and recommendations in this document. And in this document or in this report, this report does not show that Mr. Atwood have a mental illness or intellectual disability. So, Mr. Vasquez, you've advised and counseled Mr. Atwood. Is there any evidence that he is currently mentally incompetent to stand trial?
No, Your Honor.
And Mr. Atwood, your attorney, Mr. Vasquez, has advised and counseled you. Are you satisfied with his representation?
Speaking of me, Judge.
Yeah, Mr. Atwood, your attorney, Mr. Vasquez, has advised and counseled you. Are you satisfied with his representation?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Has he provided full, effective, and competent legal representation?
Yes, sir.
Okay, now, Mr. Atwood, I will accept your plea of no contest. I will
Yes.
find that you are mentally competent to stand trial. I will also find that your plea and waivers were free and voluntarily given. And I will also find that there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. State, do we have a plea bargain agreement in this case?
We do, Your Honor.
And what is that agreement?
Your Honor, in exchange for the defendant's plea of no contest in this case, the state is recommending confinement in the Jefferson County Jail for a period of 20 days, Your Honor. We're asking that the court give defendant credit for the 20 days previously spent in jail, making this a time served plea agreement, Your Honor. And lastly, we're asking that the court use the time served to both tax and retire the court cost.
Okay, Mr. Atwood, the state is offering that you serve 20 days in the Jefferson County Jail. However, you will not have to serve any more time in the Jefferson County Jail on this case because you have already served 20 days in the Jefferson County Jail. Therefore, you will be given credit for the 20 days that you have already served in this case. The court cost in this case is $387, but you will not have to pay the $387 court cost because the time that you have spent in jail has already paid it off. Therefore, the court costs will be taxed and retired. Mr. Atwood, do you understand the state's offer?
Yes, sir.
And do you think that the state's offer in your case is fair and just?
Yes, sir.
And do you accept the state's offer?
Yes, sir.
Now, Mr. Atwood, this will conclude your case. If you do not have anything else holding you in jail, you should be getting out of jail today. Mr. Atwood, just please knock on that door, follow the bailiff, and you
Yes,
have a blessed day.
All right, you too, sir. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Judge, Mr.